Hey guys, Kit here of Burn One with another video. It's been quite a while since we've released really videos lately. It's been mostly live streams, but I'm kind of getting back into the swing of things. So we're gonna hopefully start pushing out more videos, informative videos like this, deck profiles, and other like content as far as like meta discussions go and stuff like that. But I wanted to start releasing this video because it's something that happened recently that I took notice of about maybe almost 2 months ago now. It's probably more like a month and a half ago. But for those who are keep up with the JP meta and like the random things that happened on JP Twitter and like talk to other JP people, there was a deck that came out. I forgot exactly who was the creator of this deck. I think it was one of the amateur teams from or pro teams from Japan. One of those teams came up with this list. But it's a combo deck revolving around one of the new sets, Love Life Superstar, I believe is the complete title of that set. And essentially made a promo card that was considered worthless and dumb and it was only for collecting if you liked Shioko, into like a 25-cent like promo card into an $80 card overnight, essentially. And honestly, I believe this entire combo in itself is very detrimental to like the Weiss health of the meta and everything like that, and how the game should be played, I guess. Unless we're moving into some kind of new territory and Bushiroad wants to start pushing out like weird combo decks like this, then so be it. But if they don't want something like this around, this deck should honestly be banned. So we'll get right into it. These are the combo pieces. So on the left here, this level 3. By itself, when you first read it, you're like, this card sucks. So the card itself is on play. You can choose one of these two abilities. The two abilities are, when it comes into play, your opponent mills the bottom 3 cards of their deck and then burn X, for X is the number of climaxes. And the other effect there, the other one you get to choose of, is the basically a Fumio effect, where you pick one climax in their waiting room and then they shuffle everything back into their deck. So this card is okay tech card in a lot of decks because, you get the cool Fumio effect and maybe you get the Icy Tail effect, essentially, right? But what makes this card so good, or unintentionally good randomly, is the second part of that ability is that if you are level 3 and have 6 cards in clock, so literally you're 1 damage away from dying, you can choose 2 abilities and do them, or like the same ability twice. So you can do 2 instances of mill 3 and burn X, where X is the number of climaxes if you'd like when you play this card. So by itself, you're like, this is never going to really go off. It's just one of those weird scenarios where like, oh, I happen to be at 3-6. I could like clock myself, draw 2, and then like, oh, I'm at 3-6. I can double Icy Tail here. Kind of cool. This is an uncommon card. I don't think anyone expected this card to do anything really crazy for the most part, other than be like a random one of tech in certain decks because of the Fumio effect. The next card here, this blue level 3, is on play. You pick 3 cards in your opponent's waiting room and shuffle them back into their deck. Card on paper is like pretty whatever, right? Maybe you get your opponent down to a small number of cards in their deck and you just like slam this, and you go from like them having like a 2-card deck that has no climaxes to a 5-card deck with no climaxes, right? Card seems pretty whatever. It's a rare and it has no healing effect, nothing else. That's all it does. You're like, whatever. Card seems whatever. Probably not going to get played. Last card here is this 3-0 Song for All event. This card is, if you have a music character and you play this card, your opponent reveals the top 3 cards of their deck and then shuffles it back into their deck. And then they take the top X cards from their deck and put it to clockwork, where the top X, where X is the number of climaxes revealed from this effect. So it's basically kind of like, I forgot the exact name of the card, but it's the 3-5 event from Slime. But it's a 3-0 in this case, costs nothing, but you only get to see 3 cards, unlike the Slime one, which is you get to see 5. So more often than not, you would consider this card as kind of like a very, how would I say, like gambly card, right? You're like, there's no way this is gonna like hit consistently, and if it does hit, it's gonna hit 1 at most. And then if it reveals 3 non-climaxes, you get nothing, and your opponent reshuffles their deck. So now instead of there being Instead of now having 3 damage on top of their deck, they just now have a chance to cancel again, which is kind of crappy, right? Um, but looking at these 3 cards on here now, I hope you understand how this combo works. So essentially, the game plan for the deck is you get to level 3, and you put yourself at 3/6. You use the red level 3 and use the effect to mill 3 multiple times. So you mill down their deck till they're down to a 3 or 1 card, between 3 or 1 cards left in their deck, hopefully. And then by doing that, you now play the blue level 3, shuffle back in 3 climaxes. Then you use the 3/0 event to basically send their climaxes to their clock, and it's uncancelable, which is really annoying. So like right here, this is the combo basically, right? And in reality, you're like, this high rolly bullcrap will never happen. Unfortunately, Bouchard unintentionally made it so this combo could be a thing and become obnoxious. So here are the combo enablers. So the card on the left here is this, I believe, 2013, 2014 Shiro Fest promo. All your other game characters gain 500, so this card basically does nothing for your deck. But the big thing about this card is it has Clock Encore along with the music trait. The fact that it has music trait means that you can play it in this deck and it not hinder you at all because it's on trait. This promo is a promo that you're able to play in any deck you want. So this promo exists. Before this combo became a thing, this card was basically worthless. This is probably like $1 or $2 because it was a promo you had to go to an event for. The other card here on the right is a TD card. It's a 1/1 TD card that's a 1175 if all your characters are music characters. And then it has Clock Encore as well. In this scenario that you play these cards in your deck for the combo itself, this enables you to go from any 3x into 3/6 the turn you want to go off. And even in some cases where you want to just kill your opponent and you're not level 3 yet, you can overplay each other, constantly Clock Encore yourself until you're 3/6. This is the part that gets really degenerate. So in some cases, a 1/1 having to be overplayed by another 1/1 to start enabling the combo creates a more of a higher threshold for your stock to be able to go off with this combo. But because this 1/0 exists, it makes it so that you can save 2 stock if you play this 1/0 over the 1/1, making it so your combo turn becomes way more consistent because you can spend less stock and focus on just doing the combo itself. So let's look at the strengths of these combos, or of the combo itself. So the combo happens completely at main phase, which means you cannot interact with the combo at all. If you are 3/0 versus this combo, I wouldn't be surprised if you died more often than not before the attack phase even started. The worst part about this, when this entire combo happens at main phase, is that if you're doing this combo and you're at 3/6, say your opponent does have some kind of backup that burns you one or something like that, or stops damage from going through, you can heal yourself completely. Just heal yourself down to 3/5. Now their counter that burns you for 1 can no longer kill you. Because you're still at main phase, you're able to play more cards past the combo after you play the combo off, right? The next thing is free fresh counter doesn't really help you here at all as well, because the 3/0 event usually sends a lot of your climaxes to your own clock during your opponent's main phase, which means that you end up refreshing with like 3 or 4 less climaxes because they went off with this combo. So it also like enables more decompression in a really roundabout, I guess not roundabout way, but like in a way where we remove climaxes from your deck by putting them into your clock, which is horrible before we even get to attack. Next is the stock threshold for this combo to go off is a minimum of 8 as long as you have the PR cards. At 8, you're able to do triple of the red level 3, which means you get to mill 18 cards of their deck, not including the pings for 1 or 2 or 3 that you're doing in between each Icy Tail. So realistically, you're probably looking at something like maybe like 1.5 damage per level 3 you do. So you can realistically expect like 3 to 4 ping ones essentially, um, when playing this card. And in some cases, you could high roll even higher because like if you mill 3 climax from the bottom of their deck, that's less climaxes that are in the top of their deck, right? So there's a good chance that 3 will stick also. So you end up milling a lot of cards in your opponent's deck, letting you enable the fact that with only 6 stock there, right? And then that leaves you 2 stock to shuffle in 3 climaxes back into your opponent's deck, and then you play the 3/0 event, which costs nothing, right? When you play like anywhere from 1 to 2 of that 3/0 event, to just send all their climaxes to their clock, right? The deck itself also has incredibly dumb reach. Some Japanese people that I've seen on Twitter discussing this combo, and in a couple other videos too, say like killing someone from 2-1 is not unreasonable for this deck if you have the setup already. So if your opponent's at 2-1, you can actually realistically expect to kill them. When I playtested this deck against Carmen, which is part of the Burn 1 team, I killed him when he was at 2-2. And it was like the most freest kill ever. He just died. I personally wasn't expecting it because it was the first game I ever played with this combo, just to see like how busted it is. And he just died, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I mean, good game, I guess?" Question mark. So this has incredibly very strong strengths. The biggest thing, in my opinion, is that the main phase, like all this stuff, happens at main phase for the most part, which is really obnoxious. So even if you don't kill them at main phase, you get a swing 3 times afterwards. And usually you played a bunch of level 3, so you're swinging for 2/2/2. In some cases, if they don't have a board or something, you're swinging it for 3/3/3. Or if you have a climax 4/4/4, there is a level 3 that does get played sometimes in this list, where you can bounce your opponent's front board and open up slots to prevent them from being able to use certain counters in certain lanes first. So you can swing in for big damage along with the bounce. Level 3 they use does pump soul if you want, using extra stock if you have leftover stock. So you can set up scenarios where your opponent just is out basically all their climaxes for the most part in like a 6-card deck or something, and you can just swing in for like 5, and 5 is going to stick because they're out all A. There's nothing they can do because you're attacking into an open lane. So it gets really obnoxious. All right, the next slide is a bit of a meme. Weaknesses to this: the promo costs a lot of money now. You're gonna have to spend like $80 on like 2 to 3 of this card. So you're gonna spend anywhere from like $160 upwards, right? If you want to make this combo consistent and be the best it can be by playing that promo. You can play the 1/1 TD level 1 clock encore, but like I said earlier, anytime you spend stock on something you don't really have to or want to use stock on, you lose the opportunity of playing another level 3. So the biggest thing about that is that every extra instance of 2 stock you have means there's another instance of being able to do like another Icy Tail or another mill or shuffle 3 cards back into your opponent's deck, because your level 3s don't cost any stock essentially other than to play them. The other weakness is you get baited into playing a Love Live property. Some people that's not a weakness. Some people hate Love Live. But yeah, honestly, I don't see any relatively strong weaknesses to point out to this combo. Because now we're going to start talking about the combo consistency tools in this deck. So these 4 cards here are like the reason this deck can even do what it does consistently in like every game. The first card here on the left is a Brainstorm. It's a tap self salvage Brainstorm. Already really good. The big thing here is that it climax combos with a stock soul. So a stock soul in this case actually helps you build more stock over time to be able to pop off consistently at level 3. But the combo itself is at the start of your encore phase, you can pay the cost, and the cost is discard the climax from the climax zone. And if you do, you salvage a character. So every time you play a stock soul, not only do you gain a stock, you gain a character back of your choosing from your waiting room, which is really, really big for this deck, because anytime you have any good selectivity, you can start getting combo pieces. The next thing here is the level 1 here. It's a 7k during your turn if you have another music character, which is already really good. We don't really care about the backswing. We're not trying to protect anything because we're a combo deck. We just want to push damage and get our combo pieces to hand. The climax combo on this is with a pants trigger, which means, hey, you get to grab more stock souls back to your hand, which means you get an extra stock and an extra character every time you trigger a pants, which is amazing. And this is on a when this card attacks, if you have the pants climax in the climax zone and a music character on the field, you can give one of your characters the following ability, which is if the battle opponent gets reversed, you get to search your deck for a music character or an event you don't really play, show it to your opponent, add to your hand, and shuffle. Really good selectivity. And then like minorly, it like can increase a little bit your chance of canceling after this, but that's not really important. The big important thing here is you get the selectivity to be able to find the next card, which is the 2/1 here. This card gains 1,000 power for every other music character, so it's a 2/1 10k on a full board, but it has a really powerful climax combo as well. The climax combo being the same climax as the Brainstormer climax. When this card's attack is over and you have that climax in the climax zone, you have 4 more other music characters, you can salvage a character from your waiting room to your hand. Hey, you just got another combo piece to your hand, essentially for free. You don't have to reverse or anything. You just got to play this card and, and attack with it and have a full board. But there's another part to this combo. After you salvage a character, you can pick a music character in your waiting room and send it to stock. So this combo not only salvages you a combo piece, it replaces the stock you spent on this card, and on top of that, generated the stock from attacking, and the stock soul also generated you another stock, which means you just get a ton of value out of this card for playing the combo. And you don't have to worry about the fact that it costs 1 because it replaces its own stock while also being on a stock soul. This combo is ridiculous. It's a 2/1 10k, 1 soul, that's fine, because the combo is too obnoxious. Finally, we have this 2/0 event here. It has 2 effects when you use it. For the most part, you're only going to be using it for the secondary effect. So the first effect is that you can give one of your music characters 2,500 power. I'm sure there are instances where this does come up, but we mostly use it for the secondary effect, which is if you have a music character, you can salvage a music character to your hand. So this is a 2/0, costs 0 stock to replace this card in your hand with another combo piece. So there are instances where you can't get enough combo pieces to your hand of the red level 3, but you end up drawing into this 2/0 event. You can play the red level 3, overplay it with another red level 3, use this event to salvage the red level 3, and play the red level 3 again when you're set up for your combo turn. Very obnoxious, I know. So these combo consistency tools make it so that you can sculpt your hand throughout the entire game to always have the right cards at the right time to be able to go off. These pieces here make it so that, yeah, it's impossible not to get the cards you want. The hardest part of playing this deck is essentially getting the events to hand. But luckily, we have 2 more cards that facilitate the ability to get us the events if we so need to. This first card here is from the TD. On attack, gives something 1k. That's all right. The secondary effect is when this card goes from field to waiting room, you can discard a card from your hand. If you do, top check up to 4, pick a level 1 or higher card, specifically card, not a character. So that means you can grab events off of this, which means you have 2 huge events there you can grab off to maybe set up for your combo turn. You can get the 3/0 event or you can get the 2/0 event to find what you need, which means you get incredible selectivity. And it increases the chances of being able to have the 3/0 event as multiple copies in your hand instead of having to grip so many throughout the entire game in your hand. The next card here is usually used as a 1-up. It has this first effect is like relatively okay as well, which is when your opponent plays a climax, you can send this card to stock. But the big thing about it is the spammable brainstorm itself. You end up milling 4 every climax you hit. You can top check 3, add a card to hand. So not only does this help you keep your stock clean and burn through a really bad instance of the deck, it can find you climax combos. It can find you, or climaxes, I mean. It can find you the events if needed as well, as it also being a really great dig tool to mill out your deck. Both these cards, obnoxiously good tools to be able to find the events and find pieces you need. It's absurd, in my opinion. This is all absurd. So what does this all mean? Like I said in the beginning, this deck needs to eventually be on emergency ban list. Um, there has to be some kind of restriction here. One thing I would like to see maybe going forward, if we're going to restrict some, if we want something like this to exist in our meta and in Weiss itself, I think it's really cool. It's very unique. It's a very unique game plan compared to most Weiss decks that focus on attacking to kill your opponent. This one forces you into a weird combo position, very similar to a Fate deck, which was like coined as a Fate Laser for the most part, and there's also a Disgaea combo deck that does something similar, but it's nowhere near as potent and obnoxious as this deck, and as consistent in my opinion, because of how this deck sets up its kill turn basically. We probably need to look at something at like possibly restricting the clock encore, maybe. Unironically, it's kind of dumb, but maybe the Shioko PR needs to be banned, and then we can kind of see how the deck plays out from there. I still think it's incredibly obnoxiously strong, but at least like you create a higher threshold for your opponent's stock. That way, they can't just only focus on getting 8. They're most likely going to have to focus on getting 10-ish stock at level 3 to go off, and they can't spin stock as freely as they want because, you know, they're going to have to spend 2 stock to be able to get themselves a 3-6 before they can go off. I'm not sure exactly how much that really hurts the consistency, but it's something I think would be a good direction to do, is ban the Shioko card from being able to be played in this deck, and then make it so that you know, like I said, they have to spend more stock, and we can kind of wait and see from there how that resolves. An idea about it is make maybe the Shoko PR on the ban. This is so dumb, even like speaking about this out loud, it's so dumb to me. But putting the Shioko PR card on a ban list with the choice between that and the level 3 red card, or possibly they end up doing something where it's like the level 3 red card plus or maybe any of the 3 combo pieces together might be on a choice list, which would completely kill this deck instantly. Which I kind of don't want to happen, but also want to happen. It's a really weird scenario here. It kind of just depends on if we want something like this to be exist as a viable like tournament deck in Weiss, I guess is the best way to look at it. But yeah, this definitely needs to be hit in some way. I don't know how it's going to happen, or if it will even happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe we're blowing this out of proportion. But from what I've seen on Twitter and talking to a couple other people, it seems like this combo is pretty obnoxious and probably should be hit if needed be on an emergency ban list. But we'll see going forward. Thanks for watching, guys. I know it's been a while since we've had a video out. Here's some social media links here. I'll update this. I just need to make sure that everyone wants their Twitter stuff posted here. But otherwise, there's my Twitter. There's the team Twitter as well if you want to see when we post about going live and other things. We also post winning deck lists on there from team members who win at their local event or even bigger events and so forth. And then there's our Burn One Discord there. Come by and join it. If you come on by, we do King of the Hill usually every Friday. That might change in the future. So if you're interested in joining King of the Hill, just hop on by and hopefully we see you there. Otherwise, you can come on our Discord, ask us questions, interact with us. We're not super active in our Discord all the time, but if you add us or something, we're usually more than happy to talk with you and, you know, provide any